Thank you all for dialing in. So the shutdown and DC updates. Next slide, please. Okay, so the shutdown is ending. The House is voting today, and so that is great. There's been tons of delays with airports, obviously, SNAP benefits, WIC benefits. So many programs have been, which is very alarming for people. So what happened was in the end, the Democrats came forward and said, fine, we will end. The moderate Democrats, not all of them, but the moderates came together. Interestingly, all of them are safe in that they are not up for re-election in 2026, but they came together and said, let's do a deal. Let's end this. So they're ending the shutdown and for the promise of a vote on ACA extensions. The ACA extensions is a controversial issue because it costs so much money. It was really just a temporary extension during COVID, and it would add $349.8 billion to the deficit. So that is a real concern for fiscal conservatives and many that are worried about the deficit. However, also people are very concerned about the uninsured. Interestingly, before we ever had the ACA, we had about 50 million uninsured, and now today we have about 27 million uninsured. So it has provided insurance for an awful lot of people. So it's a real tense issue. I don't know that they will have the votes to get this extension, which then makes it a very top of mind political issue in the 2026 election. So we'll see. The other updates are on FY26 appropriations. A deal was made on 3 of the bills, not the health bill. The health bill is one of the most controversial ones, so that we'll have to see. But at least 3 of them are done, agreed to by both parties, which is great progress because we do not want a continuing resolution for the entire fiscal year. However, a part of the deal was that they will delay until January, which is frustrating. So we're going to go into next year not finishing the current fiscal year budget process and have to start the next process. So that will be a challenge. Authorization bills also stalled as a result of the shutdown. We did see some bills introduced during October, but for one is on advancing Women's Health Coverage Act, which is all about coverage for reconstructive surgery following breast cancer. And in fact, we're working on getting to the bottom of why it excludes those that have the BRCA gene, because that should be covered as well, that proactive surgery. So we're getting answers on that one, by the way, if anyone's been tracking that. But other authorization bills like the Find It Early Act, still working on that. So there's just been a lot of things stalled, but fortunately they'll be back in. So hopefully we'll see some movement on bills. Next slide, please. Want to send a big thank you to our advocates because this whole month of October, Breast Cancer Awareness Month, we had awesome Zoom Hill meetings. We did a little bit of training how to set up these meetings. We looked up the right staffer for people. They went out and set up the meetings and did the Zoom calls. We gave them a PowerPoint slide to go over. And so amazing job, advocates, because I saw emails come through as well to that. Those were super impactful. So good to know that you don't have to be in person to make a difference and an impact and connect. And as constituents, your voice matters so much in shaping this. We also had some in-person meetings. Big shout out to Meredith Singer, who did a few rounds of meetings, brought some other advocates with her. Vanessa, Claire and I all did some meetings together. And so there was definitely a bunch of in-person ones. And Meredith reported that in the meeting, the staffer right then and there agreed to co-sponsor. So that was pretty amazing. That usually doesn't happen. We also were an event against Meredith and I were an event with Congresswoman Debbie Dingell and Beth Van Doon and talking about the breast cancer, the ABCD and some other broader Find It Early, other breast cancer issues. And Beth Van Dyne shared her experience of not getting access to the screening which is why she's very passionate about this issue. Finally, another thank you for your letters. We, at this point, have almost 200 letters that went in on the Find It Early Act, which is amazing. And then the Find It Early Act prospects. So honestly, it's not looking good for this bill to get done this year. Just with the shutdown really slowed down a lot of things. There's a lot of acrimony between the two parties. So I don't see it moving this year. However, I'm still hopeful that the House version will get dropped this year, and then we can push for co-sponsors next year. So we're going to keep up the movement, keep up the education, keep pushing for co-sponsorship. Next slide, please. So this next slide tells you who we're targeting. Those are the staff in these offices who are all wonderful, all, very going to keep sending folks their way. Next slide, please. We support all of these. And then, as I said, just at the end of October, we had the new Advancing Women's Health Coverage Act introduced. So that will be another one we're tracking. Next slide, please. Some things to emphasize right now that are very positive are these current policies. So as we know, last year, FDA required all women to be notified of their breast density following a mammogram starting in September of 2024. There's still many people who don't know that. So I think positive government action that we could tell, whether it's on social media or in our meetings with lawmakers and their staff. But that's something I think we want to keep amplifying. And then the HRSA guidance. So HRSA came out with this guidance that says if additional imaging is indicated, that there should be that access to the screening. So it says women may require additional imaging to complete the screening, and if additional imaging, and lists out all the different technologies and pathology evaluation are indicated, these services are also recommended. So that might not seem like that big a deal, but just saying that it's recommended does nudge us towards more coverage. And so I think this is something else we want to really emphasize, and this just came out this year recently. So these are two sort of positive actions. I think it's important for us to emphasize: social media, communications with Congress, staff, etc. Next slide, please. We've got two more events coming up for the broader Women's Health Advocates Group. Our steering committee retreat December 1 and 2, and then we have our Philadelphia event on December 5th. The Philadelphia event will be all about menopause, especially with Monday's announcement. I was very lucky I was able to be in the room when they made the announcement about menopause, and the hormone therapy is no longer going to have the black box label. That's a big deal. It's individualized care. So obviously patients need to talk to their doctor and get what's best for them, but just taking that black box warning off will remove a lot of confusion about this. So we're really excited about that. So we'll be talking about that. And we know that there's nuances with breast cancer, and we definitely will be covering that. So Dr. Barbara Hanna is going to fly in from Chicago to go to the Philadelphia event and answer everyone's questions about menopause, breast cancer, cardiovascular health, all those things that are tied to taking hormone therapy. Okay, next slide, please. Oh, and by the way, the December 1 and 2, you're welcome to join our steering committee and come and participate in that. Just shoot me an email if that's of interest to you. All right, next slide, just a quick run through of some great pictures of events that we just had in New York. It was great. Turnout, really good discussion, and it was really focused on policy. So we had state legislator Linda Rosenthal, who was in the middle, in the bottom left, and then we had Seema Kamur, who is the CEO of Cure. Sponsor for our event, and then Beth, a women's health therapeutics company, Woods, who is the director of government affairs for Logic, which is another sponsor, me, and then Tamsin Faith, and a leader on menopause. And she wrote the book How to Menopause, and gave several books to us. Get to our steering committee and speakers. So she's just been an amazing story. I'm actually headed today to another Los Angeles event, the private luncheon, that is way sold out. We keep getting requests, but we are at capacity, so that's exciting. Lots of interest there. And that Los Angeles event really talked promotion, and there was a researcher and they terminated all the grants that they had the word woman and diversity in them. And she fought back. They actually sued, and they got their grant turned back on again just before the shutdown. So they actually were able to get funding and to keep going. So that was an exciting story of optimism that pays to push back. Okay, next slide. In Boston, we had a great turnout, lots of folks that were had participated in the conference, the Women's Health Horizons Conference, which I'm on their board. So really super excited to see lots of crossovers and connectivity happening here. But You can see on the top, we've got Sally Wolf, one of our co-founders of Breast Cancer Early Coalition. She spoke both at the conference and at our event, and she's just very amazing, very inspiring. You can see all our speakers on the bottom left. We had Jimmy Belcio, state rep, who is now running for Congress, by the way, decided to run for Senate again. Markey, who is the incumbent senator, and Jimmy Belcio is running along with others, but she's awesome, women's health champion, and very specifically in is to her next to her left, right, her right, I guess. Who's leader of the plan. Bill is our key person. Bill Butler is with Catalytic Impact Foundation, which is our sponsor. If anyone ever wants to donate to what we're doing, but they want to give to a nonprofit, Catalytic Impact is our sponsor collaborator for that. So again, send me questions on that, Sally. And then Allison Byers, who is a champion who passed legislation in California, is working on legislation in Massachusetts that requires reporting on what is the representation of your board. Do you have women? Do you have people of color? Just reporting on that is actually starting to drive real change in membership of boards and decision makers. Okay, next slide, please. Moving through here. So what we are asking of you all is to keep contacting your member of Congress. You can write a letter. The letter is actually already written for you. Just go to our website, womenshealthadvocates.org, click on write a letter. Then you can select support breast cancer legislation to save lives letter. And then add in or put in your address so that it'll pop with your members of Congress. And then you can add in your couple sentences on, if you're a survivor, if your mother impacted, a friend, what have you. And even if you have something particular to, like, let's say you're from Massachusetts and you know that in Massachusetts, the percentage of women with breast cancer, something like that, that's really interesting to a member of Congress. That specific angle for their state or their district, that's really helpful. But just your story is very moving. So please take the time to do that personalization. But all told, seriously, you write this and it goes to all 3 members of Congress, your 1 rep, your 2 senators. It all takes less than 5 minutes. It's super, super easy, fast. You can even do it on your iPhone if you wanted to. But it's a great resource. So please keep doing that. Next, let's post on social media. I think that is definitely important. We think it's really important to, can you go to the next, please, to post the facts on breast cancer early detection. It's 1 in 8 has breast cancer, that 71% of all breast cancer patients have dense breasts, the 79% increase in women under 50 getting breast cancer. That's a huge one. There's lots of great stats. We have them in our fact sheets. So just make sure you point out some of those key facts that are very compelling, and then how it impacts you. Are you a survivor, your friend, family, what have you? And then why we need the Pathfinder Early Act. I think that's really important to post. You can tag members of Congress to thank them for co-sponsoring. You can tag them to urge them to co-sponsor, but it's always in a polite, encouraging way. We do not want to do anything that is angry or attacking. Not that I think people would, but just to be clear, this is all about support, education. And remember, for us, our team of lobbyists, we've been doing this for decades, and it just takes a lot of repeat to finally break through and educate people and get them to co-sponsor a bill. So just keep that in mind. So this gentle nudging on social media, I think, is fine. It elevates the issue. And just by posting, you're getting people in your network to see how important this is. And they're then going to be motivated to send a letter. They'll be motivated to post. And it has a huge ripple effect. So want to just encourage it. We'll keep doing this. And of course, tag us. We like to tag both on LinkedIn and Instagram. The last slide, please. Just want to thank you again for being an advocate. And let us know your questions. You can pick down the slides. I can show my face here so much. And I can't see the Q&A box, can I? I don't think I can. So someone maybe help me with that.
I don't see any open questions in the Q&A. Now that I'm done sharing my screen, I can check out the chat.
Thank you, Katie. I appreciate that.
Lots of intros in the chat, which we appreciate.
Great.
I just see one question, Liz, about the social media posting. Should people tag their senators and representatives on social media?
I think they should. I think it's fine to do something like, some stats at the top. I've been touched personally with blah, 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 and encouraging Congresswoman so and so to please go sponsor the Find It Early Act. Something like that is totally fine. And they won't see it, by the way, obviously, but their staff will. And they do have a lot of these offices have social media directors in addition to a press secretary, or the press secretary is looking at it. So.
And then just calling attention, there's a link in the chat from Leslie Yerger about a TV spot that ran in 47 cities about one of these bills. So check out that link.
Wow, that's great, Leslie. Awesome.
And then a call out for Dr. Potter and some work she's doing about the lack of coverage in breast reconstruction.
Okay.
So a call out to Dr. Potter.
Great. So do you have the link? Maybe people want to like amplify that link.
I don't have a link. Carla, if you've got something there, please feel free to drop it in the chat.
There it is. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll make sure I amplify that. Thank you. Oh, it's TikTok. Man, I don't have TikTok.
That's when I feel old, is when everything's on TikTok.
I know, totally. Yeah, I'm not a TikToker. I don't even let my kids on TikTok, so whatever. Okay, but there's probably other ways we could do it on LinkedIn or something else, or Instagram. Okay. All right. If there's no questions, we can just close out early. Sorry, I'm in a funky place where Wi-Fi is all messed up, so I apologize. Katie's like totally jumping in for me, which I really appreciate.
Yeah, I don't see any other questions. So just a thank you to everybody for joining us. Sorry, it took us a couple of minutes to get going. We have team members traveling. Appreciate your patience.
It was all my fault, by the way. It's all my fault, so I apologize.
All good. All good. We've all been there.
Yes.
Lots of thank yous in the chat, and big thank yous back to everybody who joined. So we appreciate all of you, and thank you for your advocacy. And thank you, Liz and Sally and team.
Thank you, Katie. Thank you, everyone. Have a good one.